Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be seeing if you can beat Castle Crushers with only using magic. The rules are pretty simple. I'm only allowed to kill and hurt enemies using magic. I can use any pet that I want or any weapon that I want, as long as the pet doesn't deal damage to the enemies. Uh, we start this adventure as any good adventure does, as a level 1, fresh out the castle. You already know. And the barbarians are the very first enemies we run into, and they're very simple. Except our biggest issue is that we don't have like any mana or any magic, so our attacks do absolute poo-poo damage, and I can only use them like 2 or 3 times before they run out, and I have to wait a sec. But yeah, that's the biggest challenge to this run was the beginning. I feel like leveling up and just like getting started took a good while. I mean, I was fighting the barbarians for about 30 to 45 minutes before I moved on, just trying to level up. But it wasn't too bad. It's pretty much what you're seeing here. I would just run them in circles, hit them with my magic, try to level up. As soon as I would level up, I'd go to the dashboard, use my skill tree, and then jump back right in. I was just putting all my skills into magic. We get to the Ram boss, and this dude's really simple. I didn't know how he was going to be, but I chose Snaky for this run, and I'd never used him before, and his magic's actually really good, I found out. So maybe I should have chose somebody else. I was originally going to go White Knight, but I was like, he seems a little bit more interesting, and he definitely was. He was fun to play. I enjoyed him a lot, actually. But we absolutely clapped the Ram. There's no challenge really there. And same with the Barbarian King, or whatever you'd call this guy. He's not that bad either. You just pretty much the exact same thing as the Ram. Honestly, maybe easier. I killed both of them on my first attempt. I didn't really think they were going to be that hard, but I did think I was going to have to level up more than I did. I was only level 4 and I took them out pretty quickly, because my weapon also does increase magic damage. I tried to see if you can cut her free with just your magic, but it doesn't work, sadly, so I did have to cut her free with my weapon, which made me fail the challenge. No, I'm just kidding. But I make out with my princess, and then I move on to my boy, the Thieves' Forest. I actually hate the Thieves' Forest. I don't think anybody enjoys the Thieves' Forest. It's one of the lesser liked levels, I feel like, just because the thieves are pretty much the barbarians, but with bows and just much quicker. They're really annoying to fight. But my strat for them, if you'd even call it a strat, is just to run in circles, right? Just try to like never stay still, just kind of move around a lot. That way they can't just constantly spam their bow on me, because if you do stand still and there's a lot of them, sometimes you'll just be like stuck on the ground for like 5-10 seconds just because they'll light you up with arrows. It's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I make it to the troll boss, and this dude's really fun. He was actually really difficult, though. I wouldn't say like really difficult. This challenge wasn't that bad, but he was harder for sure, just because he had a ton of minions all the time, and they were so annoying. Because I would run out of mana really quickly, just trying to keep the minions back, and they died quickly, but he was spawning them in quicker than I could kill them, and I was just getting surrounded and beaten sometimes. Plus, my magic had a hard time of doing damage to him, as you can see. Like, I felt like I was having a hard time hitting him with my vines, and when I did, it just didn't do very much damage in general. But I was eventually able to kill him. I think it took me about 2 or 3 attempts. This was my first boss that I actually had to try a few times, but we kill him, and we get to do the fun little run scene, where we get a run from the local town drunk. He chases us, but luckily we're able to escape into this pool of water, and the local town drunk, don't worry, we will see him again. He's fiending, he'll come back, but at least for now is gone. I actually hate the water level. I don't hate it normally, I just hated it this time. It was very annoying because the bats are awful. As you can see, in able to get the bats off your head, you have to mash X, right? And so I'd carefully mash X, making sure I didn't hit and kill all the bats. So I'd have to just slowly do it. And there was like nothing I could do. I jumped up and I could sometimes hit them with my magic, but they were really hard to hit with my magic. But luckily there's not that many waves of them, so I just dealt with it, and I would just mash X to get rid of them, or try to hit them with my throwing stars, and then the actual fish would die really quickly with my vines. And so it wasn't too bad, but it took me a while to get to the boss, just because it was really annoying. um, but the actual boss, I don't even know what you call this dude. A catfish, I guess? Yeah, quite literally a catfish. He's really easy. He's not a very hard boss in general, but he was really simple. My magic is actually really good against the bosses, I kind of just realized. But you pretty much just stun him with that little, he shoots out a little fur ball, you destroy it, it stuns him, and then you do more damage to him. And yeah, I just kind of just sat in front of the boat and just destroyed him. He's a very easy boss in general, I feel like. And then I make it to this dude, which is like a little mini boss type guy. He just goes in a little tornado. I just simply killed him by mashing B. It only took me one attempt. He's not that bad, but I thought I'd show him. There's not much else to show on this level. This is all that I'm going to show, because a lot of the levels start to just become me clearing out all the enemies, and there's nothing too crazy. But I thought I'd show this guy just because he's like a fun little mini boss. But yeah, I take him out pretty easily. And then I move on to my boy, the cave. We go on our little adventure. And the cave's really easy. The slimes die really quickly by my ability, and I didn't think they would. And I was very, very scared to fight the bat. Like, I was scared because in the water, the bats were so hard, right? I was like, oh, the bats are awful, right? This is going to suck so much. Look at this. I just clapped him. There was he stood no chance. It was so easy. I didn't really think about how easy it was actually going to be. And as you see, once all his bats came, I just avoided him. I just ran. I just did not want to get caught, and I killed him. I killed him without getting caught. So it wasn't that bad at all, actually. I really enjoyed that fight. And so we go into his little treasury, and we absolutely rob the bat like the professionals we are. And then I leave the cave, and I fight these little beekeeper dudes. These guys are pretty goofy. They're really easy. Even though the bees are annoying just like the bats, they do land on the floor unlike the bats, so they're pretty easy. And then the saddest thing in video game history happens. I land perfectly, but my boys do not, and they die very sadly. But the wedding itself is a pretty easy level. But the boss is really annoying. He's not hard, really. He did take me like 1 or 2 attempts, though. He was not a first attempter, but he's more so just very annoying. I feel like that's with a lot of Castle Crusher bosses, though, like the ice boss, the corn boss, this boss. There's a lot of bosses that are just really annoying and less so hard. But yeah, whenever he gets off his piano, I just spam my B attack on him, make sure he stays on the ground, and eventually I'm able to kill his bitch ass. And his dumbass little son starts crying and being like, no, dad. And I'm like, dang, whatever. But then he swoops my girl up, and I'm like, okay, this is no longer whatever. I gotta go back and get her. And so I jump on his little Batmobile looking thing, his DUI Batmobile, and my magic is clapping. It just hits him immediately off because it's the stretch of the little carriage, so it's really easy until the local town drunk challenges me, and I'm like, oh shit, bro, not again. But this time I'm not letting him get away. This guy was really easy. Normally you fight him with your magic anyway, but I kept getting hit by his laser over and over and over again because it was just, I don't know, it was really embarrassing. I'd land and try to hit him, and then I'd just get hit by his laser. But I did take him out first try. He's not a hard boss at all, and we took out the local town drunk, at least for now, for good. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. We gotta go to another little cave. It was pretty goofy. But the levels up into Cyclops are nothing crazy. There's not much to talk about with those levels. And a lot of the levels in general, just because it's just the same thing of just clearing mobs with magic. But the actual Cyclops himself was really underwhelming. I didn't think he was going to be that bad. He's a pretty easy boss fight in general, unless you're playing on Insane Mode. Insane Mode's crazy. It would be fun to do this on Insane Mode, but I am not good enough to even just beat regular Insane Mode. But yeah, he's a pretty easy fight in general, but we just absolutely destroy him. And then his dumbass decides to run directly into lava and burn to death. The worst way you could die. He's really pulling a Chuck out here and gives us the little thumbs up. And we get our girl back and move on to Lava Town. Lava Town is just a really annoying map. It's a really hard map, to be honest. I feel like always it's a little difficult, and I need to level up a little bit for this. And this one did take me a good amount of attempts, but it's not that bad. The volcano, I had to use my sandwich on. There is no way to kill this guy with your magic, no matter what you do, or any other way than using a sandwich. So I did have to use sandwiches here. But it was fine. Like, I don't know, I can't avoid it, so what are you gonna do about it? Overall, the fight's really easy. You just kill these guys for sandwiches and then pop the sandwich, use them. I tried not to hit the minions, but I do. I hit them sometimes, and it's whatever. It's a fight where I had to use my sandwich. I also poisoned that dude by hitting him in sandwich form. I thought that was crazy. I didn't think you could do that. I don't know if that's like a character specific thing, but it was kind of wacky. I never punched again with him, so I have no clue. But next is the dragon fight, the goofy little goober himself. And for this fight, I pretty much just sat up here and threw knives. It was really easy.
He normally isn't too bad. The rocks hit me like every time though. I suck at dodging the rocks or the lava. But it doesn't really matter because I could out tank it. The minions, when they get close to me, I just keep back with my magic. He's a really easy boss. He only summons one minion at a time too, so you can keep everybody back really easily. I feel like all the bosses in Castle Crushers aren't too bad, at least on normal mode. And speaking of one of my favorite bosses, but also a pretty easy one, is the little industrial dude. I don't even know what you'd call this guy. The little industrial revolution looking motherfucker. Um, he's a really fun boss, and we just absolutely destroyed him. I thought my magic kind of would, but it was just unfair. It was crazy. I feel like magic normally does kind of just destroy this guy, though. He's normally, I don't know, he's not that bad of a boss fight. He can be really annoying, though, if you have like really bad magic or really bad ranged attacks because of his gun that moves around and maybe even his hand. But he's one of the easier bosses, I would say. And so we just absolutely clap him. Like, a lot of these bosses were way quicker than I thought they would be. With magic, I don't know, just like thinking your mana has to take time to regen, or just, I don't even know. I thought there would be more challenge about it, but I pretty much can just spam whatever and kill him instantly. On the ship, this is my favorite level by far. That's why I wanted to talk about it. I just love how the background changes as you play throughout it. But we kill some ninjas, jump on the ship, and sail away to the other little area. But yeah, that's probably my favorite level in all of Castle Crushers. We fight the little alien dudes, and these guys are pretty annoying to hit. You have to hit them like at an angle like that. You have to jump up and then press your little Y attack to throw it out diagonally. Um, but they're not bad. I kill both of them and then get abducted. They're just a little annoying, especially because they drop minions as well the whole time. Like, it's just annoying dealing with everything. But then we get to the ship, another one of my favorite levels. But it's a really simple level. Unless you're playing with like your siblings back in the day on like the Xbox 360, because you have to do a little timer countdown at the end of this level where you have to escape before the timer's up, otherwise it will blow up. But that's really easy as well. All the aliens on the ship die in one hit. They're just really fast and sporadic. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this level. It's always a fun, relaxing level, I feel like, on Castle Crushers. But just spamming your magic and just having it one-shot everything. I get off the spaceship and immediately go play some volleyball with the locals. The lead up to this is really simple, so I just skip over it. But I do play this volleyball match entirely with my magic, which was really fun. I didn't know you could do this until somebody in my Twitch chat told me you could, and I tried it out, and yeah, your magic does affect the volleyball. I didn't know that. I didn't think it would interact with it. It was really hard. It took me quite a few tries, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Normally, because the volleyball is normally really easy, and adding that challenge was really fun. But yeah, I was able to get it. It just took some luck, and just like it felt awkward because you were not near as mobile. I felt like using magic on the ball, but yeah, it was really fun. I didn't think you'd actually be able to use your magic in the volleyball area, so it was fun to learn that you could. And then I return home to my brethren, but they betray me. They start attacking me. The swamp is pretty easy. It's low-key one of my favorite maps. I just like the aesthetic of it for some reason. But we fight the little troll dude. This guy isn't that bad, but he's just really annoying because he summons a ton of minions, but we're stronger now. He dies really quick, and he didn't give me too much trouble. I will say this area on insane mode is fucking insane. This troll boss is not anything to be messed with. But in normal mode, he's not that bad. We kind of shred him. And we get to the most annoying boss in all of Castle Crushers. I think everybody will agree. The corn boss. I don't know if he is the most annoying. I kind of flip-flop, but oh my god, is he annoying as hell. But he's really easy. We kill him. He's just painful in the way that he's the corn boss. He's always just going to be painful in his own way. Um, but he's not very hard, despite the fact that, he's the corn boss. It took me like 5 minutes to kill him, even though he's an easy fight. He just disappears all the time. But for real, he's not that bad. I do like how the corn boss has his little popcorn come out. And I actually do like the aesthetic of the boss. Like, he's not an awful boss fight. He's just really annoying. But then we do one of my favorite levels and fight one of my favorite enemies is the fish. I like how the fish, when they die, turn into little meals. I think it's so funny. But the fish were actually really easy. My magic clapped them. I think it's because they counted as, like, bigger enemies. So when I hit them, it didn't knock them over, which means my magic could just stack on them, and it just destroyed them. Same with Medusa. Medusa was a pathetically easy fight. Oh my god. I don't even know if she got her stone thing off, but either way, I just ran up and just full force just spammed my Y attack into her. I did not care about taking damage at all. But it paid off. Like she wasn't hard. I knew that she wasn't gonna be that hard. But I just destroyed her. And at level 17 too, like I'm not that high of a level. I don't know. I thought it was pretty crazy how strong his magic was. But we go to the full moon, and the full moon level's really hard in general. You just get swarmed with enemies. But there's not much to say about it other than, yeah, you just get swarmed with enemies. This was probably the hardest level in the run, but I was leveled up more, so it wasn't too bad. It only took me like 2 attempts. I think the one that took me the most was like Thieves' Forest or something like that early on, but this was probably the hardest level. It was just because it was so late game. I was able to gear up for it. But seriously, you get swarmed bad here, and using my magic is kind of crazy against like huge crowds because it just knocks them over and they'll get back up and just charge you. Same thing with the ice area. Just a lot of enemies. I'd say it's much easier than the full moon though. And the snow map always puts me in a good mood. I don't know why. I just kind of like the whole Christmassy vibe of the map, even though it's just snowing. It has nothing to do with Christmas. I just enjoy the map. It's a fun little map. But yeah, the snowman map's also pretty easy. Nothing too crazy. The boss fight's hella annoying though. I do not like this guy at all. The Ice King it can suck my big fat man balls, dude. This is the debate I have. He's really easy, as you can see. He's not a very hard fight, but the debate I have inside my body, inside my head, is if the Corn Boss or if the Ice King is worse. I think the Corn Boss is worse, but the Ice King on insane mode I've heard is just awful. I've never tried him, but on regular he's awful as well. So I don't know. But he's just really annoying. I just chase him down, keep hitting him, and I eventually kill him. He's just the last super annoying boss that we'll have to go through, but even in my opinion, the last boss in this game is really annoying. But yeah, we absolutely clap him, turn him into ice, like the little bitch that he is, and smash him with a treasure chest. Then we go on to the little magic dudes. Now, I was kind of worried about these guys because I thought my magic was going to do 0 damage to him, but I found out that elemental magic does 0 damage to him. Well, it does 1 damage to him. But elemental attacks do not do like any damage to these guys. But because my magic didn't have an element to it, it was just fine. Which was really nice, because if it did have an element to it, or if I chose an elemental knife, this challenge would have been much harder, which would have been kind of fun, but it would have been ridiculous in this part because my magic would have been doing no damage. But yeah, I pretty much cruise through these guys. They're not that bad at all. They're pretty annoying because they just like spam magic. They're more magic type people, and they hit pretty hard. But it's nothing new. It's pretty much the exact same thing I've been doing. Is just pushing past mobs, and it's not near as hard as the ice area or full moon. So it's nothing too crazy. But I did think it was cool that that they did not take damage to elements. I just didn't even know about that. I thought that was pretty wild. But yeah, I kind of just absolutely clap these fools. I do like the 4 bosses. I like the lead up to the boss in the end here. It's pretty fun. Like the fact that you get to charge up and fight the bosses. The first boss is the Painter, of course. I absolutely fucking clap him. I always do this strategy though, where I just sit here and spam my magic. I feel like that's a really common thing to do. To fight this guy. Like, you kind of just sit there and then take his attacks, or just sit on top of him and spam your attacks, and that's exactly what I did. He's a really easy boss. The final bosses are, yeah, probably, I guess, the hardest bosses in the game, but they're pretty easy, and especially the Painter. The Painter is one of the easiest bosses, and then he gives you a whole bunch of food when you kill him. He's a really nice guy, to be honest with you. And the Cyclops is not much harder either. He kind of just runs at you and swings, and because of this I can just keep spamming my magic on him and doing a whole bunch of damage. And then he just summons his little goon and I have to run away. But his stages are really easy. Honestly, the most annoying thing is like when he's shooting his little fireball at you. But yeah, I killed this guy also in no time. Both of these bosses I didn't think were going to be that bad at all, but they were not. I absolutely shredded them within minutes. But my least favorite boss, the Necromancer, was coming up. Maybe not my least favorite. Like, I love the design. I do enjoy it, but it's definitely my least favorite boss to fight in. And this sucked just because a ton of enemies spawn in. You have to fight 2 waves of enemies before you're actually able to fight the Necromancer himself. And the first wave isn't too bad, but my magic is just not very good on keeping people back. And the second wave is absolutely atrocious. There is so much shit going on. The only good thing about these waves was my magic is really good against the big guys, so I was able to kill them really fast. But still, it was really annoying just running around and fighting all sorts of different enemy types as well. They're all spamming different magics. I swear to God, the Necromancer minions are just like cranked out on ecstasy, dude. They do not care at all. Like, they just spam their magic. They move 10 times faster than regular enemies. Maybe they actually are buffed. I don't know, but they feel like they are. But yeah, I finish off the waves. They're not too bad. Just pretty much the same thing I have been doing, just a little bit harder. And then I do the Necromancer, and the Necromancer is a ridiculously easy fight, like him himself is. But it's incredibly boring. This is it. I just sit there and just mash my B attack and make sure I keep him on the ground, and he just can't get up. But he takes so little damage. He has such high defense. But yeah, I just sit there constantly hitting him with my B attack. It's pretty much the only thing of mine that does damage. My Y attack's fine, but there's no point in using it. It's just weaker. But yeah, we do kill him. I think I got him on my first attempt too. He wasn't too bad. We did all the bosses on our first attempt. So we get to the first phase of the actual boss here, which he has these little spinning crystals we have to kill. And this is incredibly easy. I do it within 2 rotations. These crystals are really easy. Honestly, the last boss in general is pretty easy, but then he turns into this little bubble. And when this bubble is blue, you can only use magic on him, and when this bubble is red, you can only use melee on him. But the bubble just stayed blue the entire time, and we just fucking clapped him. So he was not too bad there either. And then he does this little bubble, and the bubble is really annoying just because it's kind of hard to hit with my shurikens. It's kind of awkward, but the bubble itself is a really easy boss fight. And then we did it, boys. That's the end of the run. JK, bro. The spider comes out. Fucking gotcha, bro. I remember back in like the first time I played Castle Crashers, I don't even know how long ago that was. That shit got me so bad. I low-key screamed. But the spider's really simple. I jump up and then just use my B attack on him. He does take a long time, but I kind of just avoid his minions and avoid his little claws and just run in a circle here. Like, the arena's really easy to just juke him out in, and all of his phases are pretty easy. The only phase that I would say is like crazy hard is the spider phase and maybe even the last phase, but they're pretty easy too. But then he goes back into ball form, which is really annoying. I hated doing this, but it's not that bad. You just have to make sure your knives land. And then we're on the final form. We're almost there, boys. We almost have done it. And he gets his little sword. This form's really annoying. Like I said, the final boss is really annoying. He just runs around constantly, will go up in the air. He's just extremely fast. He's constantly hitting you, knocking you down. He's pretty annoying. And I also don't like his spider phase very much either. That phase is kind of annoying. And he's just not a crazy interesting boss. But I don't mind him. I don't know what my favorite boss would be. Probably Necromancer. But that's it. Yeah, a really easy boss, to be honest with you. And I really enjoyed doing this challenge. It was a really chill and simple challenge. It was fun going back and streaming some Castle Crushers. I stream these whole challenges on my Twitch channel, CloudyBoy03, if you want to go check that out. But yeah, maybe I'll do some more Castle Crusher streams if you guys enjoyed them. I enjoyed running back through this game. It's a pretty nostalgic game, you know, it's fun going back through. I don't know what challenges I could do on it, but I'm sure there'd be some more. I'm thinking about doing a strength-only challenge, just to compare it to the magic-only challenge and see which one would be harder, because to be honest, this was probably the easiest challenge. If not, no, this was definitely the easiest challenge we've done on stream so far. But I still really enjoyed it, and it was a little challenging. It was fun, and that's all a challenge is supposed to be at the end of the day, is fun. So yeah, we kiss the princess. We get those beautiful clown lips. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Go check out the Twitch and Twitter, CloudyBoy03, and peace, boys. I'll see you in the next one.